Hello everybody, it's David R. Becker again here with BeckerArt, and I'm going to give you a tip on what pencils to use on your watercolor paper. I know it sounds strange, it's probably a pretty simple thing, but I've seen some people use some very strange pencils or weights of the pencil or the softness and hardness of the pencil that just isn't a really great idea to do. So let me just go right to the tabletop and show you what I use. And so I'm going to use some Stonehenge Aqua Cold Press, which is my to-go paper right now at the moment. It's cold press, so it has a little bit of texture on it. So the hot press is, of course, the smooth stuff, but the pencil all depends on what the softness and the hardness of the pencil, of the lead pencil. We're going to use the lead pencil here at first, but I'm going to show you other things you can use besides the lead pencil. So what I'm going to do is mostly what I use is a number 2 pencil like you get at the school. And so that's an awesome pencil to use. It makes a nice, it doesn't leave too much graphite down, and it gives you a nice line. But I really like even more than that, because these you have to sharpen when you're doing your drawing onto the paper, is I like using this mechanical zero, I think it's 0.7, which is a little bit thicker than the 0.5 that you get in these retractable, well, not retractable, but these mechanical pencils where you just press the button and it comes out. So that also is a really nice line, and it doesn't give too much graphite either. So it's a perfect thing for sketching on watercolor paper to do your drawing onto the paper. All right, so the one things I don't want you to use is, so here we have a 2B, which is also like a 2. 2B is fine, 2B is good, and that's, again, it's hard enough that it doesn't leave so much of the graphite down, and it's not so soft, or I mean, it's not so soft that it leaves as much graphite down, and it's not so hard that it scribes the paper and makes a mark in the paper. This is a 2H, and I think 2H already is too hard, because when you can do it, I'm not pressing very hard, and it'll give you a really light line. And that's too light a line, because when you do a wash on there, it's just going to erase. And if you press too hard to make it dark, watch what happens. It scribes the paper. You get a mark in the paper that you don't want. And so basically, get yourself a 0.7 lead mechanical pencil, or a number 2 pencil, or a 2B. 2B. I would recommend those 3. Now that said, so I've seen some people use these thick lead it's a mechanical pencil that there's a thick lead. This is great for when you're doing your value study on a regular sheet of paper. Don't use this for putting it onto your watercolor paper. For one, you don't get a really thin line because it's so soft. I know you can get these in like 2B. Then that's, I guess, fine. But that being so thick, you have to make sure it's nice and pointy, so when you're doing your line. But look at how it's great for shading, but we're not shading when we're doing our watercolor paper. We are putting our lines down so that we can just draw and paint. So don't use that. I wouldn't recommend that. These Ebony pencils, again, they're too much lead on them, and I'm not sure. The lead is just a little bit different from normal lead. I'm not sure what it is about this, but I find that it leaves too much lead on there, and so when you go to erase it, they're gonna kind of stay there. And see how I kind of have little marks there, and something about the lead, the thicker lead, and putting it down, it like kind of leaves a mark, and I can't erase it. Where the 2B pencil is easily erasable, it totally goes away. And so here again, when you're using these thick leads, or the woodless pencil, also here's a woodless pencil. Again, when you're using a woodless pencil, it's too soft and it makes it so hard. But being soft and stuff, watch it, it's going to be hard to, because what you're doing is you're rubbing, there's so much graphite on it, it's just putting too much of graphite in the paper, and then you kind of wreck the paper, and then you have thing in there. Where this was the regular 2 pencil, and then the one next to it was the mechanical pencil, and see how those go away. You can get those to go away, and for some reason the Ebony pencil and the other one, they're hard to get rid of. And see, they make a line on your paper. I just noticed that recently, and so I wanted to bring that to your attention, that use a 2B or a mechanical pencil that is like 0.7. They even make a 0.9. That's even better. I have a couple of those. I couldn't find it at the moment, but 0.09 pencil with mechanical ones are really nice too. It's just a little bit thicker. Still, don't get a really soft weight. Don't get a really soft pencil. Anything in 2B, anything lower than like a 7B, that's just too soft a pencil. Now you can also use pastel pencils. There's a pastel pencil here. Now pastel pencils is almost like a watercolor pencil where you can put water on it and it'll kind of, it's pigment down there, and so you're going to use it. I'm not sure how good it is for erasing. Again, because you're putting, it's more pigment, so, and it's also really soft, the pastel pencil. This is a pastel pencil. A lot of times if it's soft, it's hard to get the pastel or the pigment off of there. So a little bit of a hint of that is still on there, right? One thing you definitely do not want to use, and unless you want to repel the paint, is a colored pencil that is not a watercolor pencil, like the regular color pencils. This is a Holbein color pencil. They make probably some of the best colored pencil, but it's not a watercolor pencil, just the regular pencils. And but when you put that down, of course, it's not erase it. You cannot erase it. So, and it also will repel the water because it's kind of like not water based, and you can't put water on it, and it doesn't rub. And so, and to erase it, look at that, how hard I'm pressing. It does not erase. So do not use the regular color pencils. They're kind of waxy. They have a wax kind of like feel to them. These are really soft, beautiful when you're doing actual color pencil. They do have a stuff called melts, which is you can blend it. It's a liquid that you blend the color pencils with. But again, if you're just doing drawing on your paper so that you want to have the drawing on there and you don't like pencils, pencil lines, and to erase it, just use a 2B or the or the B pencil, 2B, or just a 2 pencil, like a regular school pencil. And then you can get that also with, like I said, in the mechanical pencils. And I think the only thing left, you could use a watercolor pencil, which I don't have any right here. Holbein is, I think, going to be coming out with some Holbein pencils in time, but they don't have any right now. But I would, again, you can use that if you have a watercolor pencil, not a regular colored pencil, but a watercolor pencil is great also for that, because what can happen is you can use it and actually rub in an area, like with the pastel or with the pastel pencil. If you rub the area, you can actually then put water on there and just have that bleed. So if I take this, take my brush, find a brush here that's not used. Here we go. So we find a brush here and put a little water on it. It'll blend the water. And that's a pastel pencil. Not working as good as I thought. But a watercolor pencil would go back and it would just bleed into a nice, like you're putting pigment down. So that's just my little gizmo, my little spiel on using pencils on your paper. Again, to reiterate that, use a regular 2B, a regular number 2 pencil that you get in the store. That's really inexpensive. They work the best, I find, because they are erasable. You can erase it and down to where you don't see it anymore. Those are the ones you saw. When I put it down, I could not erase it, and it makes a little mark there. So later on, you won't be able to erase that. All right. So come watch me on Thursday nights and my paint-alongs. And every Tuesday, I send out a newsletter that this is going into. And so that you always have a little lesson of some type that I put into my newsletter. And get that all on my website at davidrbecker.com or beckerart.net. All right. So see you next time for the next tip. All right. Bye-bye.